Alright, Chapter 2, Spill Notification Emergency Release Portion Requirements. Introduction. Spill Notification Release Report with requirements on the several federal state statutes include, but not limited to, the Comprehensive Environmental Response Compensation Liability Act, the Clean Water Act, and the Emergency Planning Community Right to Know Act, and the Hazardous Material Transportation Act, the Comprehensive Environmental Response Compensation Liability Act, Statute, Title 42, U.S. Standard Code of the Administration 9601, with expanded the notification reporting requirement defining the Hazardous Substance and Clean Water Act, hazardous substances, toxic Republicans, Response Conservation Recovery Act, the Hazardous Waste, the Clean Air Act, the Hazardous Air Pollutants, the Toxic Substance Control Act, and immediately a hazardous chemical substance in addition with the state statute regulation must not be consulted to ensure that no additional more stringent reporting notification requirement to clean after air flow in Michigan and Utah are obligated under the state statutes. It would be important to consider coordinating search for the statutes regulation with the district council office table 2.4 and 3.24. 2.1 summarize the federal, state, and local and notification requirements based on the federal state regulations. However, the engineering pamphlet does not identify the reporting methods based on the state local statutes supplemented in addition with the reporting requirements to establish the federal state regulations designation of all the support of spill reporting emergency release notification responsible for the construction typically required for the contractor to develop the spill control plan with include the procedure, instruction, and reporting for the use of the event with the spill of the substances regulated in Title 40 CFR 368, 40 CFR 302, 40 CFR 355, 40 CFR 112 under the state statute, local laws regulation, the UFGS Environmental Protection Section 015720, the spill control supplements required for the EM 38511, the essential elements of the plan designated the individual responsible for immediately reporting the spill release for the hazardous substances through contracting officer designated with the construction representative, the contracting officer designated with the construction representative, the installation with the installation environmental consider as the coordinator, if applicable, determine the if the contractor Usace installation environmental coordinator will be responsible for notifying federal, state, and local officials. It's important to note that the Usace Corps of Engineering customers and Air Force and Army installations may require the initial report notification to be made by the Fire Department and Installation Environmental Coordinator, both the installation all necessary to the report's notification appropriate to the federal state law of the agency, the USA's corporate station designating spill reporting requirements of the hazardous toxic radioactive waste project for the response to the action, USA's lead federal agency or federally formerly used defense sites and formerly used site remedial action plans. USA's Corps Engineering Response Coordinator will depend on site specification of the hazard toxic radioactive waste response by the ESA's Spill Response Coordinator with the might view for the USA's Contracting Office of Construction Response representative, the project manager for the chemical, geologist, industrial hygiene with the district emergency coordinator with the due spill. The duty of the spill reporting may be delegated with the hazardous toxic radioactive waste contractor that may be already established with the regulation is concerning the physical possession regulated substance. Chapter 3, the engineering program will discuss the reporting responsible to different with the USA's hazardous toxic radioactive waste activity to ensure that there's reasonable person to notify all the federal, state, and local office officials. U.S. Army Correspondence Program, the U.S. Army Corps Engineering will spill response coordinator, spill response team designated with the representative of the contractor with the delegated will notify the coordinator of the federal, state, local agencies for the prescribed applicable laws, regulations, and notification with the National Response Center in the event of the release and discharge of oil hazardous substances or in excess of the reporting quantity. The USA's Corps Engineering will respond for its own agency coordinated with the event of spill and relief of the reportable quantity of the oil hazardous substances, extremely hazardous waste substances. USA's Corps Engineering hazardous toxic radioactive waste construction representative will initiate the USA's Corps internal call down with the proper process after the receiving notification of hazardous toxic radioactive waste contractor above the required responsible quantity. Reportable quantity of the spill release internal USA's Corps Engineering coordinated down procedures developed and incorporated some of all the following organizations. Immediate supervisor, appropriate divisions, commands channel, readiness management, office of district divisions, environmental compliance coordinator, if applicable, safety laws, public affairs, official office for the council, district of executive office, where states and local regulations of the federal requirement the USA's Corps Engineering will comply with the applicable requirement, the district office of the council, then immediately consult with all the questions applicable to federal and state local laws regulation, in particular with the Clean Water Act and the Oil Pollution Act. Prior to any spill reporting, state local provisions shall be incorporated with the call down with the procedures existing the spill prevention control countermeasurement plan equivalent. When the oil hazardous substance evidence spilled within quantity that does not exceed the federal reportable quantity, USA's Corps Engineering may still have the report, but the spill for state authority shall be Coordinated with the District Office of the Council with especially situations state with the regulations may be stringent with the federal edition of the DOT regulation Title 40 CFR 717116 with additional incident with reporting requirement the release of any of the amount of hazards and an intentional report release of the hazardous material. The DOT reporting requirements are discussed in paragraph 22G. Additional technical guidance provided with the Title 40 CFR 110, 112, 117, 280, 302, 3835, and 761, Title 49 CFR 177, Title 33 CFR 153, Subpart B, Code Federal Regulation Reporting Requirements, Title 40 CFR 110, Discharge for the oil. The application of the section for the CFR applied with the discharge of oil includes the certain discharge into and upon navigable water of the United States adjoining with the shores of the lines except with a properly functioning public vessel. Who is required to report any person charged with the vessel onshore of the office or of the facility responsible for reporting release of the oil into the National Response Center, 800-424-8802, as soon as it acknowledges the release and direct reporting to the National Nuclear Regulatory Commission for the practical report made with the Coast Guard with the Environmental Protection Agency design on the scene, coordinated with the geographical area with the discharge for the area. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission will still have the proper addition and notification either with the person with the charge of the Coast Guard and the Environmental Protection Agency with the report made directly to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Usace Spill Coordination shall inquire the Nuclear Regulatory Commission and easily opportunity to verify the initial report related to them with the directing report will not be possible. The procedure providing with the notice of the reportable discharge was described with the U.S. Coast Guard Regulations, Title 33 FR 153, Subpart B, and in the National Oil Hazardous Substance Pollution Contingency Plan, NCP, National Title 40 CFR 300, Subpart E. When is reporting required? Reporting the Nuclear Regulatory Commission is required to release the valve of the applicable water, the quantity of the standard cover of the film machine upon the discolorization of the surface of the water cover of the film machine with adjoining the shorelines covering the sludge emulsion of the deposit beneath the surface of the water joining the shorelines. There is exception, however, the discharge for the oil properly functioning vessel of the engine of the discovery of the vessel billages not acceptable. B. Title 40 CFR 302 designation reportable quantity notification of the Comprehensive Environmental Response Compensation Liability Act hazardous substance application of Title 40 CFR 302 hazardous the section of the CFR Code Federal Regulation identify the reportable quantities for the various substances including the hazardous substance notification requirements for the release of the substance list of the hazardous substance for the corresponding reportable quantity for these in tables Title 40 CFR 302-4. The table includes an alphabetical listing chemical for the entry to all hazardous waste and report for the note radionuclides as defined with the regulation hazardous substance appendix B 3024 identifies the individual radionuclide with the corresponding reportable quantity of the unit of the queries for the activities of the Comprehensive Environmental Response Compensation Liability Act statute expanded for the definition reportable hazardous substances including the Clean Water Act, hazardous substance toxic pollution on the resource recovery reaction resource Conservation Recovery Act and the Clean Air Act hazardous air pollutants, the TSCA, Toxic Substance Control Act with the imminent hazardous chemical substance figure 2.1 provided with the brief summarize the release of the reporting of the Comprehensive Environmental Response Compensation Liability Act hazardous substance of the Environmental Emergency Planning Community Report Right to Know Act extremely hazardous substance table for Title 40 CFR 302-4 with the Appendix A of the Part 355 will need with the checks to determine if the Comprehensive Environmental Response Compensation Liability Act has substances in the Environmental Protect and Emergency Planning Community Right to Know Act extremely hazardous substances. Who is required to be reported to the persons charged in the vessel of the offshore, but then an officer shall soon as he or she has now for the release other than the federal permanent release for the application of pesticides should immediately notify the National Response Center at 800-424-8802, Washington, D.C. 202-467-26575, Fastmile 202-267-1332. I guess the National Response Center is not Nuclear Regulatory Commission, but the National Response Center that deployed an online reporting tool and to easily submitted an incident report for the internet user. Online reporting tool is located with the NRC, U.S. Coast Guard, mil.nrachp. Who is reporting? Reporting is required to release the reportable quantity of the hazardous substance that occurred during the 24-hour period. The report must be immediately called with the National Response Center for the define the release of the provided with the specific specification notification required. However, the exemption to making the notification will be considered as advisable to consult with the Office of Counsel before deciding to notify Title 40 CFR 355 emergency notification plan and application 40 with the CFR 355 section CFR applied with the faculties provided with the process for the use of the stored extremely hazardous substances in amounts equal or in excess of the threshold plan quantity. List of extremely hazardous substances and threshold plan quantities in Appendix A and B of the Part 355 Executive Order 12856. Federal compliant with the right to know law of the pollution prevention requirements in all federal agencies of the facilities responsible for complying with the Emergency Planning Community Right to Know Act. They refer to Figure 2.1 for the brief summary of the release reporting requirements. Who is required to report? For the first of the owner of the operative shall designate with the emergency coordinator with the owner of the operative facility response coordinator will immediately notify the competent community emergency coordinator of the local emergency planning committee or 911. For the state emergency response commission, a release of extremely hazardous substances shall be reported to the state emergency response commission and the local emergency planning committee. Established location incidental occurred identified with the State Emergency Response Commission and the local emergency planning committee, the environmental protection, the emergency planning community right to know act, hotline 800-424-9346, which should be contacted for Title 40 CFR 35540 B for the correct notification requirement. The regulator defines the path for the federal agency specified with the have made emergency plan notification state local planning program designated the facility and emergency coordinator with the formally used defense sites and formally used site remedial action plans. Recommendation for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers League Federal Agency Usace Corps of Construction Officers needs to be necessary spill reports making the reporting requirement for the contractor when is reporting required. Every emergency release notification is required at the facility for the hazardous chemical to produce them the U for the store where there is an release of the reportable quantity of the emergency has extremely hazardous substances or comprehensively emergency response compensation liability act hazardous substance during the 24-hour period. Notification requirements can be found in the Title 435540 with notification necessary to any but the release for fall exposures personally sold with the boundary of the facility of the readers and caution to be careful to determine that the notification is not required for the regulators may be conservative in evaluating the release remained on the facility site. It is important to note that the extremely hazardous substance may cover the Comprehensive Environmental Response Compensation Liability Act hazardous substance. This must require spill reporting to the National Response Center according to the Title 40 CFR 302 with an event of the extremely hazardous substance did not go beyond the boundary of the facility would not require the State Emergency Report Response Commission or the local emergency planning committee. Title 40 CFR 370, the Hazardous Chemical Reporting Community Right to Know application. Title 40 CFR 370, the Code Federal Relation established a reporting requirement to provide with the public information for the hazardous chemical within the community for the purpose of enhancing community awareness of the chemical hazard facility development of the state local emergency plan. Who is required to report? Facilities are required. Our facility subject to the reporting requirements. The facility has presented one time in emergency. Extremely hazardous substance amount with greater than 500 pounds for the threshold planning quantity. Whichever is lower the OSHA of the hazardous substances amount with greater or equal to 10,000 pounds for the report requirement. Not applicable to hazardous waste consistence. As previously stated with the Executive Order 12856, required for the federal agencies facilities to comply with Statute 370 with the facility meet with the requirement reporting for thresholds. When is reporting required? If the facility meet on one of the levels of the owner operator must submit the Terror 1, Terror 2 report for the Fire Department of the Local Emergency Plan Commission, the State Emergency Reporting Commission, and one of the March each of the year, the Fire Department of the Local Emergency Planning Committee and the State Emergency Response Commission may require a facility to provide for more comprehensive for the Terror 2 report facility and supporting requirements chemical inventory. They are also included in material safety data sheets, reporting requirements, environmental requirements, inventory reporting requirements, hazardous chemicals defined in all chemicals both the physical and the health hazards, except for the hazardous waste of the Resource Conservation Recovery Act, regulation any substance to the extent of the personal, family, household purpose or other present in the same form of the concentration public product packaged and distributed to the general public, paint, glue, tobacco products, wood products, customer products, items such as gasoline, oil, heating oils, diesel fuel, solvents would be covered within this part. The facility shall all the fire departments have jurisdiction over the facility to perform an on-site inspection requested. Title 40 CFR 372 Toxic Chemical Release Reporting of the Community Right to Know Act application of the Title 40 372 for the portion of the Code Federal Relation required for the general of the public surrounding the committee to notify the release of the toxic chemicals. There are also notification requirements suppliers regarding the distribution mixture of the subpart D of the Title 43, 72, 65 contains toxic chemicals. Who is required to report? Owners and operators of certain facilities required to comply with the reporting requirements of the Environmental Protection Agency of the state with the facility located in the facility meets the requirements established under Title 43 FR 372 Subpart B of the facility federal facility according to the Executive Order 12856 for the most of the submit of the report that meets the following criteria. With 1, the facility may have employed 10 full-time employees, including contracting part-time employees. The 2, the facility annually manufactures processes more than 25,000 pounds or otherwise uses of the 10,000 pounds listed toxic component. The facility manufacture process other use of toxic chemicals. Special concerns would include the persistent bioaccumulative toxic chemicals above the special thresholds in calendar year. When is reporting required of the facility and physician required to report the Environmental Protection Agency with the using the Environmental Protection Agency form AR the form R reports for the current over the activity during the calendar year, but the covered facility must be submitted on or before the July 1st of the next year, but the AR record keeping the requirements of the Title 40 CFR 37210 Environmental Protection Agency that has included the Pollution Prevention Act of the reporting requirements of Section 8 with the form R with requiring the facility to file with the toxic chemical source reduction and recycling there some expectations may include the federal faculties agency with the routine janitorial cleaning supplies for fertilizer, pesticides, and similar type concentration for the consumer product used for the janitorial facility ground maintenance, except the chemicals used for the maintenance are exempt, and chemicals used for the maintaining vehicles are operated with the facility exempt if certain criteria are met with the Title 40 CFR 372-388. All right, what type of substances and environmental protection, environmental emergency plan, community right to know act, and the comprehensive environmental response comprehensive liability act. Substances table 2. Extremely hazardous added above or to require the reported quantity. No report. Yes. Materials of the comprehensive environmental response compatibility liability act. Hazardous. Yes. Circular hazardous substances reportable quantity. Did release occur during the transportation call 911? Did the release go beyond the boundary of the facility? No report. Yes. Call the State Emergency Response Commission and Local Emergency Planning Committee. Circular hazards or comprehensive environmental response compensation liability act. Hazardous substance or reportable quantity. No report. Yes. Did the release occur to the transfer? Call 911 of the National Response Center. Did you release beyond? Did you really go beyond the release of the boundary of the facilities? Call the National Response Center, State Emergency Response Commission, Local Emergency Planning. If no, then did the release go beyond the confines of the enclosed structure? Call yes. Call NR National Response Center, and no report. All right, F. Title 40 CFR 761 polychlorinated biethanol is the manufacturing process, distribution, commercial with the use of the prohibitions. Applicable to Title 4761 with the section of the CFR regulates the use of the source of the scope of the of polychlorinated biethanols and the concentration of 55 parts per million with a greater spill contained with the concentration of 50 parts per million of the chlorinated biethanol with the regulated under this policy will uncontrolled the discharge of the chlorinated biethanols occurring after April 4th of May 1987 the spills occurring before the day shall file with existing regional standards. Who is required to report any person responsible for the spilling and having knowledge of the spill with discovered the spill reports according with the statute 761-125 and the Title 42 for the R3026 since the polychlorinide bethanols for the Comprehensive Emergency Response Compensationable Liability Act as a substance. When reporting is required, the reporting requirement the type BCB is shown with the Title 1, although the regulations require the reporting and appropriate the Environmental Protection Agency regional office within 24 hours. It may not be possible for the holidays during the weekends. Keep the records at 10 for the Environmental Protection Agency. Contact them as soon as possible. Table 2-1 polychlorinated biethanol spill reporting summary, Title 40 CFR 1761-125A. If 1 pound or more of the polychlorinated biethanols or polychlorinated bethanols contain materials spilled, note the National Response Center If any of the amount of polychloroethylene, biethanols, or polychloride biethanol material directly contaminates the surface of the water, sewage, drinking water system, notify the appropriate emergency environmental protection agency, regional office of prevention, pesticide, toxic substance branch over the 1 pound, notify the National Response Center. If the amount of the polychloride biethanols, polychloride bethanols directly contaminates grazing lands or vegetable gardens, notify the Environmental Protection Agency, regional office of prevention, pesticides, toxic substances. If over 1 pound, notify the National Response Center. If 10 pound or more of the polychloride bethanols or polychloride biethanols containing the material spilled, note the approval of the Environmental Protection Agency, Office of Prevention, Pesticide, Toxic Substances branch, notify the National Response Committee of the National Response Community Center as in over 1 pound. G. Title 49 CFR 171, General Information Regulations, definition applicable to Title 9, 40 CFR 171, with the section of the Code of Regulations prescribed the requirement of the Department of Transportation cover the transportation of hazardous material. Who is required to report each of the person's physical possession of hazardous material, hazardous substance, hazardous waste during the transportation, including the landing and unloading of temporary storage required to report the spill of the response. The person shall notify the Department of Transportation 800-424-8802 with the easiest practical moment to no later than 12 hours from the event of the triggered reporting requirement. Notice involving the etiological agents that may not be given an essential control disease in place with the notice of the Department of Transportation. Also, Title 40 CFR 302.6 for the Environmental Protection Agency inquired with the charge of the facility, including the transportation of vehicles, vessels, aircraft, to report and release of the hazardous substance in quantity equal to the greater than the reportable quantity shown. As soon as the person has knowledge of the release to the National Response Center of the person physical possession of the hazardous material, the type of the reportable incident incurred must not submit the full follow-up of the written report within 30 days to discover the incident. Who, when is reporting required, the carrier should immediately report when, during the course of the transportation, a direct result of the hazardous material person killed received injuries from the hospitalization. General public excavated for 1 or more hours. 1 or more of the transportation arteries of the facility are closed and shut down for more than 1 hour. Operational flight pattern routine of the aircraft is altered. The fire breakage spillage is suspected contamination occurred with the involvement of the shipment of radioactive material, infectious substance, other diagnostic related medical waste. Their release of the marine pollutant quantity if it exceeds 450 liters for liquids of 400 kilograms for solids. The situation for the existing, except the nature of the judgment and the character should be required for the Department of Transportation National Response Center, even though it does not meet the above criteria of this section. When is written reporting required? A written report of the DOT Form 5 F 5801 must be submitted within 30 days of the person's physical possession of hazardous material at the time of reportable incident and any of the following situation. Incident report of the telephonic notice for the outline paragraph 2G3. Unintentional release of the hazardous material with the discharge for the aim of the quantity of the hazardous tank. The cargo tank of 100,000 gallons, 1,000 gallons or greater with containing the hazardous material suffer the damage of the landing of the system. The damage is required of the repair. The system intended for the protective landing retention, even if there's no release of the hazardous material. Undeclared hazardous materials discovered in Title 410 CFR 71 Packaging and Transportation Radioactive Material. Application Title 10 CFR 71, the Section Nuclear Regulatory Commission or NRC regulation concerned with the packaging, transportation, and license of the radioactive material. Important that the shipment of the radioactive material may be not, subject to the Department of Transportation Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Depends on the activity classification of radioactive material. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission required the licensed material transported offsite of the public highways must comply with the Department of Transportation Regulation Title 40 CFR 170 through 189. Who is required to report the reporting requirements shall be identical to the requirements specified in paragraph 2G with the Department of Transportation hazardous material. When it is reporting requirement of the National Regulatory Commission required for compliance with DOT, it would indicate the identical to the conditions specified in paragraph 22G with the individual radionuclides may be found in Appendix B30, Section 3024 with the reportable quantity of the radionuclides is an activity carries. What are the reporting requirements on the on-site with the nuclear radionuclides during the hazard toxic radioactive waste remediation, but not transportation? Previously stated with the paragraph 2B with the radionuclides with the Comprehensive and Responsive Compensation Liability Act, the hazardous substance would not need to comply with the reporting requirements of Title 40 CFR 302 with the listing. Individual radionuclides may be found in the Appendix B3 Statute 3024 with the management of the radioactive spills. You can see with the Nuclear Regulatory Commission listed in the material discussed in paragraph 35 of the DPAM 201 with the requirement of the notification and incidental involving licensed and product service of the special nuclear material provided with the Title 10 CFR 2, CFR 20, 2202, 10 CFR 30, 10 CFR 40, 10 CFR 70 on military installation environmental offices does not leave the responsibility of spills, licensed material, and installation radiation protection. The officer of the state office must be immediately notified of the Usace Corporation, and the Nuclear Regulatory Commission has entered a memorandum of understanding of July 2001 that the hazardous toxic radioactive waste to the remediation of the formerly utilized site remedial action plans sites will license facility Usace Corp's engineering and the Nuclear Regulatory Commission have agreed with the procedure to allow the facility and the license or portion of the license to be suspended with the Usace Corp's engineering toxic response action of the formerly utilized site remedial action plan site, but the USACE will not require to obtain license response action agree to let the National Regulatory Commission observe the remediation activities to ensure the response action protection of human health and environment. Or the Comprehensive Environmental Response Compensation Liability Act notification passed the release is important. Remember the National Regulatory Commission reporting requirement is triggered only by the report of the quantity released during the 24-hour period under the Comprehensive Environmental Response Compensation Liability Act 103. Notification. They can usually be established with ongoing fairly recent release for the release for the result of the abandoned hazardous waste. The UST underground storage tanks, I guess that's what it is. Underground storage tanks, the linking landfill with the defect of the determined reportable quantity has been released in the environment. The title 24th here, our period with contamination past release may be in result of the spill, but continuous relief for the prolonged period of time. Therefore, in addition to the providing mechanism of reporting quantity current spill for the Comprehensive Environmental Response Compensation Liability Act, ensure for the past release is reported with the whereas current release is immediately reported with the National Response Center under Section 103A. The Comprehensive Environmental Response Compensation Liability Act, Title 40 CFR 302, Section 103C of the Comprehensive Environmental Response Community Compensation Liability Act requires that it is known to the suspected of received hazardous substance is reported to the Environmental Protection Agency does not specify the time, and the ordinarily covered with the consolidation process which occurs with the Environmental Protection Agency is part of the Defensive Environmental Restoration Program through the submission of the preliminary assessment reports to the Environmental Protection Agency are both important to coordinate the Comprehensive Environmental Response Compensation Liability Act 103 notification with the District Office of the Council to make prior to the notification under the Comprehensive Environmental Response Compensation Liability Act 103 does not include the provision of 180 after December 11th, 1980. Any person who operates or who at time-to-time disposal owned or operated who accepted the hazardous substance for the transport selected the facility of the hazardous substances or have been stored and treated with the disposal of the shall. The disposal shall be unless the facility has been permitted issued and have been according to the interim date with underestablished part and subtitle C Solid Waste Disposal Act notify the Administrative Environmental Protection Agency of the existence of such facility specifying the amount of time that any hazardous substance is to be found there and any known suspected likely to release any substances from such facility. Alright, Table 2, Spill Notification Emergency Reporting Release, reporting requirements under the Comprehensive Environmental Response Compensation Liability Act. Release of the hazardous substances, and this is basically what we just went over. Alright, Chapter 3, USA Spill Reporting Responsibility.